What happens when we combine French onion soup and macaroni and cheese? And by the way, we smoke it. Well, let's find out, because I gotta tell you right now, this shit is delicious. So, let's make this shit. Okay, so for today I am making smoked mac and cheese. Yes, smoked mac and cheese with some awesome smoked tri-tip and some kielbasas, jalapeno kielbasas to be exact. You don't have to use those, use whatever you got, but this is gonna be an awesome recipe. So without further ado, let's make this shit. And if you're new, please, feel free to watch through the video. I have many other good videos too. All right, here we go.
All right, let's kick this off here. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with our onions while the smoker is heating to 225, 250. This is about 1 pound to 2 pounds of yellow onions. And I'm gonna thinly slice these. Now the smoker is loaded with cherry wood. Use whatever kind of wood you want, hickory, apple, if that's what you wanna do. I just love cherry. Now I'm going to transfer these into a hot pan that I'm going to put about 1/4 cup of olive oil into. You don't have to do that much. You can add some butter as well for some more richness in the flavor. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the onions. Now, we want to add some sugar to the onions as well in a little bit, but we want to start sauteing these, and you have to really work them because you don't want them to burn. To get these nice and caramelized, we're going to add in that sugar that I mentioned earlier. So about 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar, and just keep working them, keep stirring it. It's a baby. You got to really tend to this one. Okay, so while that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and prep the meat. So I've got tri-tip and I've got kielbasas. For some reason, my butcher sliced up the tri-tip at the grocer and packaged it this way, but we're going to add about a tablespoon of salt and pepper to each. And these are going to be smoked. That's our kielbasa there. These are going to be smoked for about 35 to 40 minutes. While there's our smoking, we're going to go back to our onions here. So for our French onions, we're going to add in about 9 cloves of minced garlic. So go ahead and mince those into there and give it a good mix. And then we're going to add in some pepper. And for the pepper, I'm doing fresh ground black pepper, about 3 tablespoons. And the same for some salt and some herbs of Provence. So that's going to be about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that, and I am using kosher salt here. And I don't have any cognac or brandy on hand, but the good news is I do have a Sauvignon Blanc, which is perfect. A dry white wine is perfect for this. So about 1/2 cup to a cup of that. Let that start to boil so we get the alcohol out of there. But we're going to move on to our cheese. So I'm using Gruyère, and I'm using a whole block of smoked Gouda each. And I'm going to go ahead and grate these. You want to go with this kind of cheese and not pre-grated cheese. It tends to have like a coating on it, but if that's all you got, that's all you got. It's okay. Then I'm going to go back to those onions and I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and then I'm going to add in about a big heaping tablespoon of some Dijon mustard. Then I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. You can do half heavy whipping cream, half whole milk, perfectly fine. Then we're going to slowly whisk in our mixture of cheese here. We want to do this very slowly and just keep whisking. This is on a very medium to low heat at a low boiling rate. So we don't want this too hot. We don't want to basically seize this up and have a bunch of nastiness going on. Okay, so our French onion cheese sauce is done. We're going to keep that at a low simmer. So just keep simmering it and stir it whenever you can. But we're going to move on to our noodles. So into boiling water, we're going to add some orecchiette. You can add whatever kind of noodles you want. But before we do that, we're going to salt that pasta water with some kosher salt. Now that our pasta water is seasoned, let's go ahead and add in those noodles. And you can actually use some of this pasta water in the cheese sauce. Don't waste it. So we're going to go ahead and strain these once they're done. We want them a bit al dente. These are a little bit more than I wanted them to be, but we want to get them to a nice al dente. This is straining. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the meat, which is done. So for the meat, I'm just going to dice all of the meat once it comes out of the smoker. So that's about it. But you do want to let it rest for about 10-15 minutes at least. You can do 20 minutes. So go ahead and let it rest and then slice this up into nice little cubes. So we're just going to dice it into nice little beautiful cubes. The same goes for our kielbasa. How I achieved this was I sliced it down the middle, just nice in half, and then I took those halves and I sliced them down again before making the cubes. It may snap, that's okay. We want that nice crusty skin on the outside, but you know, my knife could have been a little bit sharper. All right, so we're ready to plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. I'm gonna start off with our noodles in a big bowl, and then I'm gonna add in the tri-tip and smoked kielbasa. Now I do have my oven set to broil right now because I'm gonna broil this in the end. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pour that awesome French onion cheesy sauce on top, and I'm gonna give this a good mix. Then we're gonna add a thick layer of that grated Gouda and Gruyère cheese. We want a nice thick layer on top. After that, we're gonna add some Italian breadcrumbs. We're just gonna sprinkle those all across the top before we put it in the oven at a high broil or a low broil if you want, for about just enough time to melt the cheese and get a nice crust on the top. So it takes about 10-15 minutes max, but keep an eye on it while you're doing this. Once it's done, we're gonna pull it out, look at the crust on top, looks awesome. And if you wanna get fancy, you can add some fresh chopped parsley, but let me just give you a nice glimpse of this here. Look at that, and we're ready.
I gotta say, it smells amazing. I can't believe how good this came out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it. The smokiness, you can just smell it from the kielbasas, the tri-tip, and the beautiful Gruyere cheese in there. Oh my gosh. So here we go. Here's a bite. This is like, wow. This is like French onion soup had a baby with mac and cheese, and then we had some smoked meat in it. Wow. Oh my God. I gotta take another bite. But before I do, I gotta say, cheers. And I'm out. Next time.